Traveling to Consciousness, exploring spiritual journeys to find answers in uncertainty.
What is up, conscious monkeys? Welcome back to another episode of Traveling to Consciousness. As always, I'm your host, Clayton Cuteri. In today's podcast, we are talking about politics, and we're going to talk about how it contributes to the entire vision of us creating peace on Earth. How do we go from where we are right now to creating peace on Earth? Well, in order to do so, we need to talk about where we are right now, and then we're going to lay out our game plan, because we have to be aware. I know there's a lot of dark and twisted things that are going on in the world right now, and in order for us to change them, we have to be aware of them. We have to think about them. We have to see the vision of where we want to be, where we want to go, and then take action. It's also important. We can't just wish and think and pray and meditate. Those are important, very important. But we can't only do that. We have to take the next step and take the action. And so this podcast is going to give you some actionable steps towards the end. But let's talk about where we are. The first thing I want to jump into, and this is really kind of, I would say, even like about the ethos of myself and the reason that I'm running for Congress and politics, is creating peace on Earth. How do we do that? We stop the wars. We stop the nonsensical wars. And an example of some of those nonsensical wars would be what's going on in Ukraine right now. What's going on in Palestine, in Gaza. And one of the things that I saw pop up this week that I found very interesting and something we should be aware of was an interview that President Zelensky did of Ukraine. He's the president of Ukraine, where America has sent them $177 billion, right? Now, when people hear that number, they don't really know how or what it's being sent as. And he did this, the beautiful justice, to tell us what exactly that money was sent and how it was sent. And in it, he said that they received $100 billion in weapons and ammo, which, first of all, is such an unfathomable number, so high. The mind, the brain can't even almost quantify how much in money that is. But then he goes on to say that we have sent them, of the 177, 75 to $77 billion of that was cash. And I think that that's absolutely insane. Let me actually read the quote here. I pulled it up. Zelensky was in an interview with the Associated Press, and he says, "When I hear, both in the past and even now, from the U.S. that America has provided Ukraine with hundreds of billions of dollars, which 177 to be precise, at least that's what's disclosed to us. Who knows if it's more. As the president of a nation at war, I can tell you we received more than $75 billion US. And it's a little confusing, but this next paragraph should clear it up. He said, quote, "So when people talk about $177 billion or even $200 billion, we've never received that. We're talking about tangible things because this aid didn't come as cash, but rather as weapons, which amounted to about $70 billion. But when it's said that Ukraine received $200 billion to support the army during the war, that's not true. I don't know where all that money went. Perhaps it's true on paper with hundreds of different programs. I won't argue, and we're immensely grateful for everything. But in reality, we received about $76 billion. It's significant aid, but it's not $200 billion. which is crazy to me. So in what way are those dollars, is that money, where's it going? Where's the $100 billion that's unaccounted for? That's such a large amount of money. And this is something that we'll see how it all plays out, but I'm actually very grateful that exists, which is this Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, with Elon Musk and what the Trump administration is doing with that. So I applaud them in that regard. I mean, if you haven't been paying attention, the USAID, they found tremendous amount of fraud. And I mean, they're going to just be uncovering fraud after fraud. The way they go about it, hopefully it's legally and through the right channels. But the important thing here is to realize, like, you have a foreign national saying, like, yeah, they said they sent 200 billion, 170 billion, but we only got 76 billion of it. Where's the other 100 to 130 billion dollars? I mean, that's the first thing, right? Is where is it? And if we look at USAID, they were sending some of that money to the terrorist organizations. We've talked about this before on the podcast. They send money to both sides. I mean, and this is nothing new. This dates back to the Napoleonic Wars, when the Rothschilds decided that they were going to fund everyone essentially in the war. England, France, I'm blanking on who their name, the Russians, but then it was also is Auschwitz? No, that's not right. Was it Prussia? I can't remember who the other one was. I can see their flag right now. It was a yellow and black flag. And for some reason, it's escaping me the name of what that country was. But the Rothschild family figured out that you could fund every single side of the war. So no matter who won, you would win. And they could determine who would win because you just remove funds from one side of the war. If you have no more money, you lose the war. So the Rothschilds actually figured this out back in the I guess that would have been the 1800s, the early 1800s. And that system hasn't gone anywhere. It hasn't disappeared. It still exists. And they're still doing it today. And maybe it's not specifically the Rothschilds, but that same technique, the same tactic of funding both sides. And that's what we're finding here. CIA, USAID, funding the terrorists. And then the government funds the quote-unquote government. Because they have tremendous amount of weapons. I mean, look what happened in Afghanistan, right? When we quote-unquote pulled out and left $80 billion worth of like Apache helicopters and everything for them. It's not accidental. You don't accidentally leave that much equipment or not like make it defunct or sabotage it so they can't use it at the very least. It's a part of an agreement. They understand if they give terrorists more weapons, more power, they give them more abilities, then it justifies a different country getting aid from America to spend money on the military-industrial complex. This is nothing new. They've been doing this for the last 220 some years, 230 years, however long it's been. This is nothing new. It's just constantly going over, but the mainstream media won't tell you about this. They'll tell you how bad this terrorist organization is, how bad these rebels are. Meanwhile, the government's funding both sides. You are funding both sides. We, as an American people, are funding both sides. The government doesn't pay taxes. The government doesn't pay taxes. The entity known as the U.S. government does not pay taxes. They take your money, they loan it out, and then they use your money to pay off the loan. Well, we have another issue there with like the whole loan thing going on, which, yeah, that's going to spiral out of control soon. And I don't know if you saw this, but they just stopped minting, or at least Trump told the Federal Reserve, or again, blanking on the name, but he told them to stop creating pennies because we're losing money on pennies, which that's great. I didn't look into how much that'll save, but like it's a drop in the bucket compared to everything that really truly needs to happen within our government. And I mean, on this path of war and talking about Hamas and Israel and Gaza is another thing that happened. I don't know if you saw this, but when Trump met with President Benjamin Netanyahu, or Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, Trump said, quote, so he said this in regards to Gaza, he said, quote, "We will own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site." He then went on to add that the U.S. would clear out the destroyed buildings and, quote, "create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housings for people in the area." Now, the first thing that comes to mind, there's a lot to unpack here. The first thing that comes to mind is, what happened to America first? Who's going to pay for this? The American citizens? We're going to pay for this? We're going to pay for our government to make Gaza this place that we just spent billions of dollars to destroy, that you spent billions of dollars to destroy, and now we're going to invest probably billions of more dollars to rebuild it? I strongly disagree with that. And then first of all, he said supply unlimited number of jobs, which is, come on, bro. Like, that's insane. That's insane. That's just an insane statement to make. But who do they think is going to occupy that place? And then he starts talking about Palestinians needing to leave and get taken in by other countries. It's absolute insanity what he decided to speak about and do in regard to Israel in that press conference. And not even just Israel, but I guess specifically about the Palestinians in Gaza. Create an economic development that will supply unlimited number of jobs and housing for people of the area. Well, it's not of the area because you are literally calling for other countries to take in the refugees, which the America, the government, created because we funded those efforts. And who is going to move in? Who has the money? Where are the refugees going to go? This entire situation is going to create the rich get richer, the poor get poorer situation, if it hasn't already. This is a pure example of the rich getting richer, the poor getting poorer, the common man losing. The common man losing in this situation, right? Their homes get destroyed, and then they're like, "Oh, well, for your safety, for your security, let's move you next door. Let's move you down to a different country. Let's get you out of here. It's for your own good because we know what's best for you." And I mentioned this, and here's what's crazy too. I believe it was in the Hurricane Helene podcast where I mentioned this about how these disasters happen, but this one's even just like legitimate. Disasters happen, government comes in, buys up all the land. I told you, I don't know if I specifically called out Gaza in this situation in regards to the Hurricane Helene podcast, but go listen. I tell you about this, that this is the playbook. They destroy the area, and then they say, well, for your benefit, we'll take over the land. We'll buy it because, you guys are managing it improperly. We'll don't worry. We'll take care of it. We know what's best for you. We'll rebuild all of this for you. But it's not actually going to be for you because you can't afford it. We're going to do an economic development that's going to be so beautiful, so powerful. It's going to be so luxury and so wealthy. Oh, but yeah, you don't have any property anymore. We just destroyed it all. You're in ruins. Your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, they perished. We killed them. So even if we offer you 10 cents on the dollar for this land, you're probably going to take it because you need money, because you're in fear, because you're afraid. So yeah, we'll just kind of leave that out of this and just, we need to make it look good for the world, that we're doing a good thing, that we're doing the right thing. Neither Israel or Palestine should own this land. It should be America. And I've told you guys before that I do in ways support American expansion, but the people of Palestine have to want that. Gaza has to want that. And there's no way right now with our current administration, with our current policies, with the billions and billions of dollars that we've given to Israel and Hamas to fight each other, to destroy, to hurt the common people, because that's who dies, right? It's the common people. It's never the elites. Remember when COVID happened? How many world leaders, right? The target age of who died during COVID, the primary people were elderly, right? Why did none of the world leaders die? Why did no one in Congress pass away from it? They got kind of sick from it, right? Like there were a few people that got hospitalized or allegedly hospitalized, but it's never them. I mean, there's jokes that go around that the United States Congress is a retirement home. COVID went in and wiped out retirement homes. And yet for some reason, nobody in Congress was severely injured or hurt by the vaccine, or not by the vaccine, but by COVID. I find that astonishing. And I guess it's not astonishing, but the reason that happens is because when these events occur, they know about it, whatever it is, it never hurts the elite. It only hurts the common man. It only hurts you and me. It only hurts our brothers and sisters, our moms and dads. And that's exactly what is occurring over in Gaza right now. This entire plan to take it, to build, create jobs, is going to make the rich richer, the poor poorer. And who in the world is going to fund this? Now, maybe they say that it's going to be other countries. But why would they? Say Trump goes in, we occupy it with military troops. Why would Saudi Arabia give money? What is there that benefits them? Maybe it looks nicer. They don't give a shit. What? I just find it absolutely insane, inhumane, and unethical of what we're doing here. And furthermore, you'll see this, some of the biggest investors will be involved in this, and they'll get richer too, by the names of BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. They'll be right there. But let's take a little quick pivot into something that I do agree with Trump on, that he did recently. And I do support this wholeheartedly. He signed an executive order that banned biological men from women's sports. And I think this is an important step. I think this is important. This is protecting women, and women are very capable. They're very powerful. They're honestly, in many ways, probably in most ways, there's my alarm to record a podcast, in most ways more powerful than men. Let's be honest here, in most ways. But whenever it comes to the physical sports, it's very difficult, if not impossible, for biological women to compete against biological men. So I just wanted to put out there that I'm very much in favor of this. I think that that's what we should do. I think that if we want to create a trans league, we can do that. The percentage, and I know before there not used to be a lot of trans people, but that number seems to be growing for whatever reason. That's a whole different conversation. But for whatever reason, that population, that demographic is growing. So let's create trans league as well and give them equal protections. Let's let them sort that out. I don't know the answers to that. I can't relate to that. But what I can relate to, what I've seen time and time again, is women being slighted. And this basically going against the whole purpose, intention of Title IX. So to me, I wholeheartedly agree in regards to this banning men from women's sports. I think that's right. I feel that that's right. And the last thing, the insanity continues in regards to plane crashes. We got more plane crashes. So 2/5 on February 5th, two planes collided on the ground. So this was okay. No injuries, no deaths from what I found. In Seattle, it was a Delta Airlines and a Japan Airlines planes. They collided on the ground in Seattle. On February 6th, the U.S. military surveillance flight crashed in the Philippines, which killed 4. On February 7th, one day later, Alaska, there was a flight in Alaska that went missing, and they don't know what happened yet. That's still under investigation, but they found the 10 people who were on board all perished. And then that same day, a small plane crashed in Brazil, killing 2 people. And I don't understand why nobody is talking more about this. And I did some research, and shout out to my dad, because he actually sent me some data, because I was kind of complaining to him. I was not complaining, but I was like pointing this out. I was like, something's crazy is going on with our flight industry, with our planes, like what's happening here. And he sent me some data that they had. And what they found is that between 2013 and 2022, there were 32 fatal accidents. And that includes everything: cargo, military, commercial. There were only 32 accidents from 2013 to 2022 in which there was a fatality. Someone died. And there's a lot more statistics we could go into, but I think this is the really important one, which on average would be 1 accident every 14 weeks. So 1 accident every 14 weeks. Now, in the past 4 weeks, there have been at least 5 accidents involving fatalities. Now, it might be hard to scratch your head around, but that is a 1,650% increase. 1,650% increase. That is astronomical. There has to be something going on more than just, I don't know, but there just has to be more going on than what we know. I don't know what the answer is. It has to be more than just incompetency. Maybe it is incompetency, but there has to be something more going on with our planes, with I don't know. The energies, maybe there's something spiritual war going on. I don't know. I am not here to make a judgment call on what it is or what it isn't, but something is going on to create a 1,650% increase in plane crash fatalities in the last 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, whatever it is. That's absurd. Absurd. So we have to figure it out. And the fact that the media isn't talking about it, the fact that our government isn't even questioning it or talking about it, raises a lot of flags to me. And this is also why I feel so passionately that we need myself and the American Congress Party in government, because we're going to be giving you that transparency. When things like these happen, we're not going to sit and wait and worry about red tape and bureaucracy. We're going to be transparent with you, because you, the people, the American people, deserve to know what is going on. And for the government, time and time again, to act as if there's some sort of bestoic person of who's in control and gets to decide what the common people get to know. It's sad to me. It really is. It's sad. I think it's inhuman. I think that we need government that's controlled by the common man, by the people, by you. Because if that was the case, if the common man truly got to be in charge, we wouldn't have war. Our air would not be polluted. Our land would not be polluted. We would be living in peace. Everybody would be in the energy of love and caring. We would be all very wealthy. We'd be all wealthy. Be so wealthy. Because we would understand about abundance and how there isn't this lack that we've been convinced to believe in. That we're able to be free. We're able to prosper. We wouldn't be afraid of if we're wasting other people's time or our time. We would do things from love and abundance so that we could get things done. We would be following our heart's passions and desires in life. We'd be connected to our inner eye to know what needs to be done in this moment or in that moment. And this is possible. We just need leaders who can see that future, who can promise that future, and who want to deliver that future, and who can deliver that future. And that's why I'm here. I know that that's my mission here on earth. I've connected to my inner eye. I've connected to my heart. I've felt the frequency, the shift, the vibration, the energy. And that's what I'm here for. I know I am. And I just am calling out to those who it's your mission as well. Maybe it's not the right time. That's okay. But we have very little time to get this done. We're only on earth for 40, 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, whatever it is. It's a very small amount of time, and we have to come together. We have to put forth our effort in order to save nature, to save the next generation, to heal the planet, to heal everybody. And in order to do this, I need you guys to reach out. I need you guys to join the mission. I need you guys to share this podcast. Share this podcast. Let's get this going viral. You just have to share it with 3 people. Just share it with 3 people. Those 3 people share it with 3 people. Word of mouth is how this movement is going to spread. It's how we're going to create peace on earth. I've been shown this. And I don't want to get like too crazy. It's supposed to be the political podcast, but we do need to start merging political and spirituality. And so the spiritual aspect of this is that I have seen visions. I've seen and felt the energy of what is to be, what is coming for us, for this dimension, for this planet, for this timeline, for this reality. And I know it's going to happen. There's just this piece of me that wants it to be here now. And I know, and I've felt this and seen this in the visions, is I can't do it alone. I need you. I literally need you. You're not listening to this podcast because what I'm saying hasn't resonated with you. And maybe you're not 100% on board with everything I'm saying, but if you're at least 60%, 65%, I mean, geesh, come on, join. Share this podcast, reach out to me, get involved. We need people. We need you. It's the only way we're going to bring peace and harmony on earth. And I know the mind can play tricks on us. We can think, oh, well, I've got a lot on my plate already. I don't know if I can add this to my plate. I don't know. Well, I have to do this at this time, do that at that time. Then I got to take care of this. Then I got to do that. I don't really have time to join this political movement. What I'll tell you is this. We're serving nature. We're serving the supreme being. We're serving that energy that connects everything and everyone. That's what we're serving. That's what this mission is serving. So if you put in a little bit of effort into serving that, maybe you don't even have to reach out to me. Maybe you find a way to connect. You do your own practices. You connect to nature. You connect to spirit. You ask for assistance. You say, hey, nature, spirit, source, the all-powerful one, whatever you pray to, and you say, hey, I agree with this movement. What can I do to help? But I have so much time. I have all this stuff I have to get done. Can you help me out? I promise you that you will see shifts where things will just start getting taken care of. And we'll say, okay, we'll try it out. Source will be like, all right, maybe you need someone to watch your kids. And you say to Source, look, if you can get someone to watch my kids on this date, then I'll reach out to Clayton. Something like that. Something silly. Make it something crazy too. You can make it the craziest thing in the world that you could possibly think of. Or you could just start small. It's really your choice. But what I'm trying to say here is this. When you start serving nature, nature will start serving you. Let me say that again. When you start serving nature, nature will start serving you. A lot of the programming on this planet has been around that we have to do all these things by ourselves. We're the only one. We have to be alone. And if you truly believe that, which is fine, I get it. That's the program. I've believed that for so long. Nature will give you things to support that belief system. And it'll say, okay, here you go. Let's keep proving it to yourself. But if you take a step back and say, hey, nature, God, source, spirit, I can't do all of this on my own. Help me. Be like, fuck yeah, finally. Let's go. Let's go. I've been waiting so long for you to say this. Like, here, I had all these things lined up for you. Now that you finally asked, here it is. And you'll see. People will take care of things. You'll get more money. Things will start to become a little bit more in alignment. You'll have more time to yourself. You'll be able to think about the bigger picture. You'll be able to create something that's beyond your own physical world. You'll be able to contribute to something that's bigger than what you are. And that's where the beauty of all of this lies, and where I find all of the beauty in this lies for me, is being able to contribute to something that's bigger than what you are. So talk to her. She'll support you. If you're supporting her, she's going to support you. She's like your mother. Speak to her like it's her mother. And maybe you have a bad relationship with your mother, but assume you have a good relationship with this mother. Take care of her. Tell her you're here for her. Maybe throw some peanuts to the local squirrels to be like, hey, I'm taking care of you, see? I'm trying. You can do little stuff like that. I got some squirrels in my backyard that I actually feed every day. It's pretty cool. They are starting a family now, and it's so cool. Like, all I do is throw peanuts out there every day, but now they got their own little family coming. Other squirrels are coming. There's some cats that are being cool with the squirrels, which is weird because I feel like they would always just kill each other, but now they're getting along. So magical things will happen. That's all I'm trying to tell you, is that magical things will happen. So on that note, I appreciate you all. I love you all. Let's join together. Let's heal nature. Share this podcast. And if you don't share this podcast, then we're going to have a discussion about it when I see you in the 6th dimension.